yeah, again, I've said it, but Evil Dead 2, I would say, like,
Yeah.
that's like, that's just like a film that like I watched and I was like, I can't believe what I'm watching, and this is just amazing, and just like off the wall, and I don't know if I can quite articulate how much I love that film. Just
I recommend anything by Jan Svankmajer, who made a film called Alice. He did his own version of Faust, which was incredible. He was a stop motion artist whose films are very nightmarish because of his stop motion style. He usually uses loads of taxidermy and stuff like this. But his Faust is just incredible, and his Alice in Wonderland is incredible. So check those two out. Those two out. And there was also films such as like The Cremator. I recommend a film called The Cremator, and a film called Valerie and her Weaker Wonders as well. The very dreamlike film about a girl who, starts to come of age, so to speak. So, I really recommend diving into Czech New Wave, because nobody does kind of dark, by like pessimistic satire, but also dark fairy tale stuff as good as the Czechs. So,
the first movie I remember going to the cinema and seeing was like 1982, was Clash of the Titans. And I think that's the first time I looked at something and thought, like, how have they done that? And I remember asking my dad and him saying it's stop motion. It's like little models that are moving around. And I was obsessed with it. And I had plasticine at home, and I used to just like move the plasticine, but because I never had a camera, I used to just go click, and I'd happily do that for hours, like I'm making something, but it's all in my head, but there's not even a camera. Click. Yeah, so that was the first time. And then I think the next time is the 80s, when I start seeing all the, The Thing. Well, the same era, I guess. It wasn't so much the 70s, but the 80s, when The Thing was the first thing, that special effects movie that blew me away.
It would be films like Evil Dead 2. That's just showed me that filmmaking can be quite accessible. Really, that's kind of what it showed me. Even though they had a few £100,000 or however much they had, which is more than sort of budgets I'm working in, they showed that you essentially just need a camera, some people know how to light stuff, and you can just go for it and create something crazy and unique. I would say that film has quite inspired me visually.
But I'd be terrified. So I was terrified of horror movies because I was convinced that they'd be worse than all the stuff I could visualize. And so I didn't actually see any. I was scared of Scooby-Doo when I was a little kid. I was scared of horror, but I used to write horrible stuff. And then I got to about 14, and my older brother Paul, watched Alien, which he taped off telly, and he said, "I think you can do this." And I was like, "Really? I don't do horror." And he was like, "No, I think you could." And I watched it, and I was like, "Well, that wasn't as bad as the stuff." And so I loved Alien, and then I went and watched every single horror movie I could put my hands on. So I went from not having seen anything when I was 14 to, by the time I was 16, I was trying to find loads of stuff that was unavailable in the UK at the time. So Texas Chainsaw Massacre and The Exorcist and all that, I was sourcing through people at college, getting 10th generation VHS and that just to fill in all the gaps. So it was a very quick, very intense grounding in horror, I guess.
And then, films like, when I was growing up, Mad Max 2 was a big film for me. Return of the Living Dead, RoboCop, the Fall of the House of Usher, which is like the British title of House of Usher, the Roger Corman film. What else is up there? I love. I don't know if you're familiar with it as Americans, but Steptoe and Son was a television series in this country. They did two. It's like a sitcom in this country in the 1960s and early 1970s, and they did. So I'm laughing because people think these films are trash, right? This is exactly the kind of film that you were talking about, right? But the two big screen versions of Steptoe and Son are two of my favorite films of all time. Steptoe and Son and Steptoe and Son Ride Again, just brilliant comedy films. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the one, of course, where I think that's a kind of perfect film. But then there's millions of others.
Oh, the list of horror films that I love. Oh, it's just too many. Too many. I'm a huge fan of folklore films like Blood on Satan's Claw and those kind of Wicker Man and films like that really are my you know, what inspired me as a kid to really want to get into film.
It's not a good film, but I really enjoy Krampus. Like, I don't think it's a good film, but, well, I really like it. I could watch it all the time. Well, you know, within reason. But Christmas horror is my, like, favourite subgenre of horror, so